Hey, welcome back to the Wrestle Show. In this episode, I'll have a discussion of the different wrestlers that went from Raw to SmackDown this week, and a stipulation put on two that will decide whether or not one of them, or which one of them anyway, comes to SmackDown from Raw. First off, apologies for the camera. Somebody moved my camera and I haven't been able to get it re, um, recalibrated right, so it's taking me some time to get that corrected. Hopefully by next week it won't be a problem and we'll be good to go by my next video. That said, here we go with the people that moved from Raw to SmackDown on this week's episode of SmackDown Live and the WWE roster shakeup. Of course, as mentioned in the last video, Byron Saxton switched places with David Otunga, so Byron Saxton will now be one of the announcers on the Raw brand. I mean, the SmackDown brand, not the Raw brand. David Otunga moved to Raw. It's unfortunate though that Ronaldo won't be there, but of course that's a different story for a different video. And if you want to see that video, um, the link is on the website on the page, and I'll try to put a link in the description below. But that said, Byron Saxton now a commentator on SmackDown. He's left Raw. David Otunga moved over to Raw. Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is now officially a SmackDown wrestler as opposed to being on the Raw brand. think it'll be good for him. He seems to be getting kind of buried on the Raw show. It seems like I don't know if that's storyline driven or how everything's going, but it'd be great to see him be able to flourish on the SmackDown brand. So hopefully on SmackDown Live, you'll see Sami Zayn, reaching for that brass ring and really doing what he's got to do um, to show himself to be the great wrestler that he truly seems to be. The Shining Stars, of course, the Shining Stars have left Raw. They're now on SmackDown. Of course, there is that blending of them with Titus O'Neil for a while over on Raw. It never really seemed to work. So hopefully the Shining Stars become more than just jobbers here on the SmackDown Live show. I'll be glad to see them, work well. It'd be great to see them actually work out and actually become something and somebody a team that actually, competes for the SmackDown tag team titles. Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal has left Raw. He's now on SmackDown. He seems to be just a leftover, on Raw as of late, especially with Rusev being injured. So I think Jinder Mahal really has nowhere else to go but SmackDown. Maybe on SmackDown they'll find something for him. It doesn't seem like there's much to his character. Maybe he needs to flesh out his character a little bit more. Of course, he's been on Twitter, defending himself against accusations that he uses steroids or whatever, because apparently if you have veins that show in your arms, you're automatically a steroid user. By the way, that's not always the case. I've known some people that didn't use steroids that had veins in their arms, that used, other types of supplements that just happened to cause the same kind of effect. I don't know a whole lot about that kind of stuff. I just know what people told me in the past. But he says he's one of the, no one out trains him, no one out, exercises him or all that mess. Hopefully that's true, and hopefully it'll show up, on the SmackDown Live show, and maybe somehow he'll find himself a niche on the show, and he'll be successful. That's all you can really hope for when somebody that really has nothing going for him one show gets moved over to another, I suppose. Tamina, who we haven't seen a whole lot of recently, she moved from Raw to SmackDown, so she's joining the women's division on SmackDown Live. As well as Charlotte Flair. Surprisingly enough, they're moving Charlotte from Raw to SmackDown as well. I think that'll definitely breathe some fresh air into the women's revolution on the SmackDown Live brand. I think it'll be great for for the show. I think it'll be good for the women's division, as long as they don't just give her the SmackDown Women's Championship and let her keep it for over a year. That would be the worst possible scenario, I think, for what could happen on SmackDown Live and the women's division. But Charlotte has moved to SmackDown, and hopefully it'll be a good home for her. Give her some different wrestlers to fight, as opposed to just having Sasha Banks and Bayley all the time. And of course they didn't want to leave her on Raw to be destroyed by Nia Jax at some point, because in the near future, I'm sure Nia Jax will get the push to the Women's Championship that she deserves. She's done, put in a lot of work. She's done really good. And could you maybe get her an outfit that actually is more flattering to Nia Jax? By the way, while we're on the subject, I saw a picture of her the other day in that she posted on Instagram in a one piece swimsuit, and she doesn't look nearly as big as y'all make her out to be in that horrible outfit that she wears on that she's been wearing on Monday Night Raw. Hopefully, maybe things will change for her in the near future. Um, that said, also this goes back to the last video I did, and it was really just disappointing to me because when I heard Kalisto was moving to Raw, I really got excited. I was like, great, this is a chance for the Lucha Dragons to get back together. So I don't know if there's some kind of a rift between those two, or this is an issue within the company. But of course, as soon as Kalisto moved to Raw, they automatically moved Sin Cara to SmackDown. So maybe I need to do some more digging and find out what's going on between Sin Cara and Kalisto. Maybe it's the fact that occasionally Sin Cara is not played by the same guy. I don't know. Maybe they just don't get along. I have no clue. Um, that said, I think it'll be good for Sin Cara. I mean, I think he should have stayed on the Raw brand, but I know he had some problems with. I think there were some wrestlers he had fights with on the Raw brand, so maybe that's a good reason for him to go to SmackDown. I'm not sure which one, but anyway, hopefully for Sin Cara's sake, this turns out to be a good move. And of course, they've moved Rusev and Lana over to SmackDown. Rusev's been injured. Hopefully, he's going to be able to make his return to wrestling in the near future. And as for Lana, well, she hasn't really done much wrestling in the ring, but much like Maurice, she's just a manager at this point in time. So who knows what could happen, but I think it's really cool for them to move him to SmackDown for when he returns. Maybe he and Jinder Mahal can continue their feud. If not, maybe he'll at least have a shot at the US, going back to the US title again, or the WWE SmackDown, title or whatever. And of course, the New Day, as I predicted in one of my previous videos, the New Day made its expected transfer from Raw to SmackDown, not really wanting to pit Enzo and Cass versus the New Day, who surprisingly have become a face tag team. When for the longest time, for most of their title reign, they were heels, but the crowd just fell in love with the New Day. I don't know how they pulled it off. I don't know how the fans decided to love them, but hell, even I like the New Day now. So get yourself some Bootios and get ready for SmackDown Live to no longer be Booty. And this takes me to my last person, which is the one with the stipulation. Now, Kevin Owens came out on SmackDown Live yesterday and said he was now a SmackDown Live wrestler. Well, here's the twist on that. And Daniel Bryan came out later and said that since Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho have a match at Payback for the United States Championship, one, the title can't be the U.S. title will not be defended on SmackDown before Payback, and two, that whoever wins between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho will become a SmackDown wrestler, and the other one will stay on Raw. But either way you go, the U.S. title will stay on SmackDown. I just thought it was an interesting little stipulation that Kevin Owens has to beat Chris Jericho in order for him to stay as a SmackDown wrestler, or else Chris Jericho comes over. And as we all know, Chris Jericho's contract with WWE ends pretty soon. I believe it's May, 1st of June, something like that. And he goes on tour with Fozzy in May. So we know that Chris Jericho is likely not going to win that match, but you never know what the WWE could do. You never know with Chris Jericho. He could sign a new contract, overnight, and we'd never know it. since he really seemed to enjoy his last run with the WWE. You never know when he'll be back or how long he'll even be gone or if he's even gone. But like I said, Kevin Owens tentatively is a SmackDown Live wrestler. I think it'll be good for the show if they keep him there like they should. There's really not much left for him on the Raw brand, really. So I think SmackDown Live is a good place for Kevin Owens. I would have never thought that they'd move him from the premier show Raw to what they've always seemed to think of as SmackDown as the second class show. But I think it's good for the show. I think it'll bring some much needed value to the show. And that said, this is the list of people that went from Raw to SmackDown this week in the 2017 roster shakeup. Please like, subscribe, and share. And please pardon the camera angle. I apologize for its horrid nature. And I'll be back at it again with another video probably next Tuesday. But do check back occasionally because I do plan to do more uploads Monday through Friday, occasionally an upload other than Tuesdays and Thursdays. That said, y'all have a great day.